Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sunday School and Happy Easter. Christ is risen. That's in your Easter morning at church. Usually the leader of worship says, Christ is risen, and everyone else says, Christ is risen indeed. So that was your part. So let's try again. Christ is risen. All right. Easter morning. I hope you've all had a nice morning so far. Happy Easter. I hope if you had a little Easter egg hunt at home, you're able to do it. I hope all of the fun of Easter is been happening at your home in your self-isolation. I do miss seeing all your faces. I'm glad you're checking into Sunday School. That is cool. This morning, I'm going to read you all a story. You okay with that? So settle back. Little Easter morning story. Here we go. It happened on the week of Easter. Whoosh! The spaceship swept low over the planet Earth and quietly landed in a wooded park at midnight on the outskirts of Jacksonville. Disguised as Earthmen, 3 visitors from outer space disembarked and began a week's study of the religious practices of the third planet from the sun. At the end of the week, after Easter Sunday, the mysterious spaceship returned, and the 3 hurried on board with their piles of notes. Whoosh! Away they fled, back to the planet Mars, because they came from Mars. The next Sunday, the 3 read their report at the meeting of the religious study group who had sponsored their journey. And here is what they said. Here is what they reported on planet Earth. Fellow Martians, it is apparent that a new religion is sweeping the United States of America on planet Earth. We do not know the name or origin of this religion, but we are certain that the objects of worship are rabbits. Do not laugh, sisters and brothers. It is true. Earth people are not as advanced as previously believed, and here is our evidence. Religious indoctrination in this belief in the Blessed Bunny begins at birth. Earth babies learn early to positively identify with bunnies. They are dressed in cuddly sleepers which are shaped like bunnies and often have pictures of one or more of the furry animals on their chest. Their beds are painted with happy, playful bunnies, and it's not uncommon for an Earth baby to sleep with a stuffed bunny. During the early years, further identification with bunnies is fostered through picture books and television programs. By age 4, mass religious instruction begins through Saturday morning television programs. Earth children huddle around the TV and watch animated cartoons of bunnies, portrayed in many and varied ways. The favourite would appear to be Bugs Bunny. His punchline is, "What's up, Doc?" We're not certain of the religious significance of this question. Occasionally, a special program is seen in which a rabbit plays a special role. In Alice in Wonderland, for example, a crazy rabbit runs around panting, I'm late for a very important date." We are impressed by the results of this mass education. Earth children receive a totally positive image of bunnies. And we did not find one child who thought rabbits were anything but good and cuddly and soft. They are blessed. Worshippers of the Blessed Bunny observe a sacred week each year in the spring. It is called Easter. Even those who do not adhere to the faith go along with this festive celebration. Businesses promote their wares through the media of bunnies. One sign said, "Hop on down to your florist." Another advised, "Our gas will keep your car hopping." Bunny-shaped chocolate candy is sold everywhere. Balloons with bunny pictures stenciled on them fly all over the place. We saw miniature villages populated by stuffed bunnies in several shopping areas. These are apparently worship centres for children. The Blessed Bunny himself appears and sits on a regal throne. Children sit on his knee and hesitantly talk to him. We felt that the children were awed by this experience, and it has much merit for religious educational purposes. Martians should take note of the fact that Earth people take their religion right into the marketplace where crowds observe the services. Song and dance accompany the festive sacred week. We heard many recordings of Here Comes Peter Cottontail, and it's also said that a religious dance is practiced by the most zealous adherents. It is called the bunny hop. One sidelight should be mentioned. Although worship of the Blessed Bunny in its several forms is widely tolerated, there's a small group of heretics who take to the fields in the fall of the year to shoot and kill all the bunnies that they see. They hunt in groups and use vicious animals called dogs to track down the defenceless creatures. The more zealous of these heretics eat the bunnies or make gloves of their soft fur. A growing number of Earth people believe the killing of bunnies should be stopped by the government. In conclusion, let us say that we deeply appreciate the opportunity to make this study and to report to you, our fellow members of the religious study group here on Mars. Our studies make us all the more convinced of the validity of our own religious faith. Friends, we need not fear that there is a better faith on earth. For our faith in the Lord Jesus Christ, whom we worship here on Mars, was not challenged in any way by this new religion of the Blessed Bunny which is sweeping planet Earth. Brother Gregor, who accompanied us, was so moved by the spiritual plight of Earth people that he bore personal witness to his faith in our Lord. A dozen times he initiated dialogue with those from Earth, and they would have none of it. Especially did he find resistance to the belief in the resurrection, that cornerstone of our faith. Jesus is a scandal and offence to many still. While Brother Gregor shared the good news with one earthman, he angrily told him, "I go to church," and stomped off. We don't know what church is, but whatever it is, this attender knew nothing of the risen Lord. Friends, you know how we have often wondered if the Lord Jesus ever visited any other planets in the solar system beyond Mars? Our study proves one thing. From the earthmen we met and talked to, it's highly unlikely he ever visited the third planet from the sun. I hope you enjoyed that little story. What was the point of that? You know, obviously we're just kind of having fun with how much we celebrate other things at Easter, and we sometimes forget what Easter is really all about, this worship of the bunny. And I've got to admit to you that in Scotland, we didn't really have the Easter bunny like a life-size or larger than life, a human being size Easter bunny coming to visit us at Easter time, and it's always really confused me. I saw this little video on YouTube of a little Scottish girl with her dad talking about Easter and Jesus and the Easter bunny, and I thought you might like it.
Dad, are you painting a face on an egg?
Yes, I am.
Have you lost your mind?
No, it's for Easter.
Easter.
Right, okay. What's wrong with Easter now?
I just don't understand what it's all about. Why do you give me chocolate?
How do you mean?
When I ask for chocolate, Mum said, no, not good for you. Sometimes you give me more chocolate, what I can eat.
Like when?
Easter, Halloween, Christmas, my birthday.
Okay.
The country is gripped by obesity. All our celebrations have loads of chocolate.
I suppose you're right.
I don't get the characters either.
What characters?
The Easter characters. We learned all about Easter at nursery.
Yeah?
Are Easter Bunny and Jesus best pals?
Well, not really.
Is Easter Bunny in the Bible? Does he carry a basket of eggs all the time?
Well, the thing is, he's not really in the...
Does Jesus totally love chocolate then?
Well, the thing is, Easter Bunny's not really in the Bible.
What do you think Jesus his favourite chocolate is?
I don't think he had a favourite.
My favourite's puddings.
Listen, Isla, lots of people believe lots of different things, but the most important thing is that we have fun together.
You know what I really don't get?
What's that?
Bunnies don't even lay eggs.
What was Jesus' favourite chocolate, I wonder? I don't think we'll ever know that. Well, maybe we will one day, but we probably won't figure that out today. It's kind of funny to think about, how kids can interact with the Easter Bunny and Jesus and make sense of it all. And telling that story and talking about all of that stuff, the Easter Bunny and me went visiting some of our kids yesterday. It's not that we shouldn't enjoy all of that stuff. I particularly enjoy the chocolate that shows up at Easter time. And the Easter Bunny stuff and Peter Cottontail, all of that's fun. But we need to be careful that we don't take our eyes off what this Sunday is all about. And this Sunday is all about Christ is risen. Christ is risen indeed. It's all about an empty tomb. And we wear crosses around our neck all the time. And I sometimes think we should really wear empty tombs around our neck, a little moulded empty tomb or something. Because that is the life-changing, forever event that Jesus provides for us. Why is the empty tomb so important? Why is the resurrection so important? I sometimes think that Jesus either told the truth about himself or he lied. It's as simple as that. Maybe he was crazy as a third option. He either told the truth or he lied. And toward the end of his life, Jesus started acting and telling people that he was the Son of God. He would fulfill prophecies that showed him to be the Messiah that the Jewish folks had been waiting for. So if the empty tomb is for real, that validates everything that Jesus said. If he said he was the Son of God, he was the Messiah, he was. If he beat death, if the tomb was empty, when he tells us that we can trust him, we can. When he tells us that he loves us, we know he does. When he tells us that we can have relationship with God through him, we know that we can. And that is really the crux of why the empty tomb and the resurrection is important. We read this in Romans. But if God himself had taken up residence in your life, you can hardly be thinking more of yourself than of him. Anyone, of course, who has not welcomed this invisible but clearly present God, the Spirit of Christ, won't know what we're talking about. But for you who welcome him, in whom he dwells, even though you still experience all the limitations of sin, you yourself experience life on God's terms. It stands to reason, doesn't it, that if the alive and present God who raised Jesus from the dead moves into your life, he will do the same thing in you that he did in Jesus, bringing you alive to himself. When God lives and breathes in you, and he does as surely as he did in Jesus, you are delivered from that dead life. With his Spirit living in you, your body will be as alive as Christ's. And that's really what it's all about, isn't it? That because Jesus was raised from the dead, for those of us that follow us, we also shall have life forever with God. That's the beauty of Easter. That's the beauty of what Jesus did for us. That we get to have a relationship with God. That we get to move on from the state of being dead to being alive. And we get to live forever in heaven with God and with Jesus. So have fun with all of the Easter traditions. But just remember, the most important thing about Easter is not the bunny. It is not the chocolate. It is that tomb that is empty. It is the life that we find in God through Jesus. I hope you all have a great Easter. and remember, Jesus is risen. What was that? What? Have you been listening the whole time? Did you hear every word I said? You did.